What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me this Sunday afternoon here in Texas. I know you guys are probably a little bit more in the evening now over there in Europe, and out west it's still early morning. So thank you all for joining from around the globe. Today is a very special day. We are going to finally take a look at the iniBuilds A300-600R. You guys know that I love the 300F. We flew the freighter version around a little bit, and actually I was supposed to do an A300 stream because the commercial pilots voted for it, but I wanted to wait and actually get permission to stream in the passenger variant first. So we have that. The beta testers have received their copy, and you'll be seeing some more content. The aircraft will be released soon, or the update, I should say, since the aircraft's already out. But guys, this is much more than just an update to our existing A300 freighter variant. So if you want to see the full changelog, we'll talk a little bit about it in cruise, but just do !changelog, or you can just look in the description. I got a link in the description there if you're catching up on this video after hours or after the stream is concluded. There is a link to the full changelog. It is pretty lengthy. There's a lot of stuff that has been changed and tweaked, a lot of little bugs that, I thought the A300 initial release was the best release X-Plane has seen for a third-party aircraft. And even now with this major update, it's even more complete. I mean, all just the little things that maybe you didn't even notice were perhaps a bug or something. Sometimes they'd work, sometimes they wouldn't. That has all pretty much been taken care of. Plus, you get a passenger cabin. So, shout out to Team Vodka and Chat, Cartage of Wool, Spirit Wings. What's going on, man? Anthony Anderson, good to see you here as well. Slam Cannon, Miss Jungles, Ian Warner, Robert S, Keith B, Blue Collar Pilot, etc. There's a lot of you in chat, but let's go ahead and get into the airplane and start it up. And we'll talk a little bit about it here as the aircraft begins its alignment phase. But you can see they've already included some nice air stair functionality here. We've got the co-bus, the company bus out here for bringing in passengers. I was having a little bug with better pushback. I'm running the OpenGL version, and I was losing my nose wheel steering, and they couldn't reproduce it, so I don't know if it's just specific to my setup. So I'm not going to be doing better pushback, so I figured we're going to go do this pull-through gate here in Los Angeles. But, I mean, just look at that. I mean, now, since we're at a pull-through gate, it's pretty sweet because we can get to see these air stairs and the modeled fuel truck, baggage loader, and everything. It's just awesome. I mean, this is a complete airplane here, which is really nice to see in X-Plane 11, since we do get a lot of releases that aren't necessarily feature complete. But like I said, let's hop in. We're going to do a cabin tour once we get up in cruise as well. Let me go ahead and keep pulling my microphone out of the way here. So we are completely cold and dark, guys. We've seen if you haven't seen the inside of this airplane before, if you don't have the freighter variant, you've been waiting for a passenger variant, this is one of the nicest virtual cockpits that is in X-Plane right now. The attention to detail and the texturing is just straight juiciness. But yeah, we'll go ahead and power it up here. We're on battery power. External is available. Listen to the sounds. Oh man, awesome, awesome stuff. So we're going to start from the top. I'm going to go ahead and get the ADIRS into the alignment phase here. Heading status mode. I'm also going to get some light in the cockpit here. It's still a little bit dark. Let's go ahead and lighten it up. And we've got our EFB over there as usual. I mean, look at this cockpit. I love this cockpit. Can we see the cabin view? Robert S. We're going to be in the cabin here momentarily. Let me just go ahead and get the airplane in the prep phase here, get everything aligned and ready to go. And then we'll do a cabin tour in flight. We'll also do a cabin tour here on the ground because we all want to see that juicy cabin back there as well. All right, we've got our lights on, and nav lights can come on as well. And just, I mean, awesome. Awesome. I love the nav lights here on the A300, sitting behind that little wingtip fence. Good stuff. Ground service is included. Yeah, Team Vodka, everything that you see outside, and I will show you guys here if you're familiar with the A300. If not, I'm just going to kind of talk like you don't have the A300 yet. You've been waiting maybe for the passenger variant. But probably one of the best EFBs that we have in X-Plane 11. Very easy to use, very intuitive. So I just come over here to ground operations. I'm going to ground services. You can see I have external power hooked up, air stairs, chocks, loader. I'm not going to use the air start unit. We're not going to use pushback. But the next page here, you also have a fuel truck, passenger bus, and catering. Now, when you select air stairs, it also gives you the option for 1L and 4L, the boarding doors, which are 1 left and 4 left. So that would be these 2 boarding doors on the left side of the airframe. All right, so we've got that loaded. Left forward cabin not closed. We'll go ahead and clear that out. And our cockpit is finally coming to life. Let's go ahead and continue with our overhead flow. We're going to keep coming down. Cockpit door is open. That is fine. Come down here. Galley shed. I'm going to turn that off here since we're on ground power in case we want to make some coffee. Everything else looks good. The fuel tank, I believe this is, you only need 1 pump for the APU to run, but we're not even going to fire the APU yet, so we'll leave those off. Probe window seats are off. You can see the cargo compartment smoke detectors is a little bit different here in the passenger variant. It's a slight change to the virtual cockpit, but everything else is pretty much in line. We'll go ahead and get our signs on, no smoking, arm those. Nav light is on, like I said. Dome light. There we go. Now we're nice and bright. All right, let's do some quick work here in the NICDU. I'm going to bring it over to the right side. All right, we are going to be operating from Los Angeles to Phoenix. Short little flight, but it should be just enough time to introduce you guys to the passenger variant. We'll talk about that changelog once we get up in cruise as well. But again, exclamation point changelog if you want to see the full list. Also, it's in the description. We're going to be operating this as, I don't know the code for Airbus Industries, Flight 1. I don't know if it's ABI or what. We're going to do cost index of 75. Flight plan, LA, SID. We're going to be departing off runway 25 left on the... Where was my flight plan? DOTS 2, there we go. DOTS 2. Scenery transition. Insert that. Scroll all the way down. We can put this into plan mode. You can see the changes here, just like on our narrow body Airbus. DOTS 2, scenery transition. Then we're going to go from Phoenix. We're going to be on the ILS 8, planning the Hydra 1 arrival via Blythe transition. Insert nav accuracy upgrade. You can see that the airplane has got its alignment pretty much complete. There's our flight plan looking good. We got 1 disco in there. We'll go ahead and clear that disco out. Perfect. Go back to the top of our flight plan. Go to our init page at init B, and we'll do some work here in the EFB. Let me pop you back out here. So again, I love this EFB. Very easy to use. AIB. Oh, it's AIB. There we go. Thank you.
Donation. Donation.
Airbus guy. I don't even know Airbus industry. That's awesome. AIB. Appreciate you. Robert, thank you so much for the $2 donation, man. He says, man, nice to see you again. Hope for the next group flight, maybe this year. Stay healthy, brother. Robert, thank you so much for your donation, man. Appreciate the support here on the channel. Glad to have you on board as we begin our A300 flight over to Phoenix. You stay healthy as well, my friend. All right, here we go. Load manager. This is why I love this EFB. Oh, you know what? I do have, I do want to close something out here in the background. There we go. I'm going to listen to Discord notifications. All right, this is one of those main reasons why I love this EFB. Look how intuitive it is. Right now we need 20.2-ish on the fuel, 20.5, that's close enough. We're going to hit load fuel. I'm going to go next page. We are going to take almost a full boat here. Let's take 175 passengers. Hit load, and I'm going to go to the next page. Cargo, we'll just take a moderately loaded cargo there. Hit load, go to the next page. Now it's going to compute. We get a couple numbers here that we want to put in here. Block fuel on board, we have 20.6, so we'll put that in here. Pretty light load of fuel, so we can expect some pretty good performance out of this airplane. Zero fuel weight for the aircraft is 273.7. 273.7. That populates our gross weight, and our CG is 30. Oh, look at that, 30 even. Pretty good on that. 30.0. Optimum flight level 350. Cruise out to filed is it's 10, so we got to change that. Let's go back to the init page here. I'm going to go back 1 page. Cruise altitude is 350. I missed that on initialization there. 350, cost index 75. We don't have a company route, but we're AIB. Let's go ahead and fix that. AIB. We're going to be Airbus Industry Flight 1 today. Go back to our init B page. All of our weights are calculated. That looks good. Let's go to our takeoff approach phase here. And I'm going to go ahead and send to performance. load the FMC data so it knows I'm taking off of LA, off of 25 left. We'll do an ATIS request, and we'll go through and populate its information. And I'm not paying too much attention to chat right now. I just want to get the airplane rolling, and then we'll have plenty of time to talk. Are you using Active Sky? So, Brian, I'm not using Active Sky for this flight. It's been giving me issues on my rig, but it shouldn't be giving you guys issues. And that you brought it up, Active Sky is compatible with the A300 now, so you'll get your Active Sky weather in the ATIS and the EFP. Before, you had to use default weather. Now you can use Active Sky, and it will work. My X-plane has gremlins in it right now, and I've been trying to fix those, but here we go. So calm winds right now. Outside air temperature is 11 degrees. We've got a dry runway, anti-ice off, 15-0. Let's see if we can do a Toga takeoff. Really get some performance out of this airplane. 15-0 Toga. Let's go ahead and compute that. Let's see what it comes up with. Can you fly call sign VCP001? I don't know, man. All right, limitation second runway segment, that's fine. Our second segment, climb and runway. Here is our speeds, and instead of manually putting them in, I think this is the only airplane that does that. Maybe the Zebo, I'm unfamiliar, but check this out. We send data, send it to the FMS, receive takeoff company data. I mean, that is a true message. If you're using ACARS with your airline, whoever you're working for, this is probably how you're going to receive your takeoff data. So we got 166, 169, 171. We're going to set that in the FCU. We got to do some other things first, though. Engine out is 1,000 feet, thrust reduction 1,000 feet. Everything else looks good there. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Let's go back to our overhead. Let's begin. I'm going to go ahead and get all the fuel pumps on. I know it's probably not the right procedure for the APU. I think it's just one fuel pump from the on-side tank, but we're going to be starting up here not too much longer, so we're going to go ahead and get you primed up. We are aligned, so we can go ahead and turn this on. Your pitch trim, make sure you are aligned. So before you turn on your pitch trim switches here, you want to make sure your align mode lights are off before you go ahead and do that, because it'll just trip back off. But we are ready to go. No power change within 5 minutes after those have been activated, so we're looking good there. 10 minutes prior to departure, we'll go ahead and start getting the heats online. APU is accelerating. We're spooling up. Love that sound. Team Vodka says sold. Oh yeah, man. This plane, you guys know that I've loved this airplane, the freighter version, since it came out. I don't know if it receives as much love as it should in the YouTube media community. I mean, I know a couple people stream with it here and then, or there's some videos about it, but kind of, not that I don't want to say it's went under the radar, but it is probably the most feature complete airplane out of the gate that we have on the X-Plane platform. Even when it first released, now it's even better, which I didn't think it could get that much better than when it first came out. It sure has. So here we go, we're back up top. APU is available. Let's go ahead and turn the bleed on. We'll disconnect from the external power. Should hear our PAX kicking on here. I do have the volume down a little bit because I know we were flying that other airplane. Go ahead and crank the volume up so you get a little bit better sounds. There we go. That looks good. Okay, here we go back to our speeds. It was 171. I believe it's V2 plus 10. That's what you actually set in the FCU. Again, this is not a real procedure. We'll do 181. Constraint mode. Flight directors are on. Constraint mode for my FO. His flight director is on. Our top altitude, we're going with no ATC today, so we're going to take it all the way up to 350. We are pretty light, so we should have no issues getting up there. All the way to 350. Now, I think there's a way to scroll this in thousands, but I just did it the long way there. Up to 350. We'll be a nav once we get out of here. Everything else looks good. John Cabela says it's one of the best study sim planes on the community. I agree, man. I agree with you there. Let's go ahead and get a ATIS here. Oh, you know what? What am I doing? Look, I'm trying to do it the old X-Plane way. Check this out, guys. We're going to go EFB ATIS, update, update. I now get my Phoenix and my Los Angeles METAR information. Calm winds 10 miles, few, temperature 11, 3022. I love having little things like that. You know, it really keeps the immersion going instead of having to pull out a moving map or whatnot, either having an ACARS ATIS or being able to pull it up off the EFB just like we did there. 3022, I have my altimeters linked. I think that's a good thing to do when you're flying single pilot in a multi-crew airplane like that. And again, I fix those by coming in here, going to the settings page on the CFB, and this is where you can change all of your stuff. Now, I had instant align on there. I was wondering why we aligned so quickly, but I was troubleshooting some better pushback issues. That's why I had the IRS align on instant, but you could put that to real, which I probably will always have on real. But here we go. I think this is important if you're doing single pilot flying. Links barometric altimeters, so instead of having to change your FO's altimeter, you can just, when you change yours, it changes his, which he should do anyway. Link flight directors. This is important for Airbus logic. I think it's important that you have this on unless you want to manually go over there and switch the FO's flight director on and off. But when you start talking about some thrust logics, and especially on the narrow body Airbus, I don't know how pertinent it is to the A300, but I know you can get in trouble when you're running one flight director on and the other flight director is off. So I keep these synced on. I link my barometers. And this was just that standard that I linked there. EFB active indication, nose wheel steering, brake temperatures you can reset if you put the brakes on an RTO or something. Shadows plugin, custom shadow data ref. I have it off right now just because, like I said, my airplane's got a little bit of, or my sim's got some gremlins going on. But everything else looks pretty much ready to go. Carter Joel says, have you been able to get your hands on a Pan Am livery yet? No, I have not. I have some select liveries from the developers. I was looking. I did not see a Pan Am livery in there, and I said that would be my first one. So I have not. I didn't want to fly another livery because I wanted to make sure it's the Pan Am one. So we'll go ahead and get these loaders out. We'll go ahead and remove the air stairs. We're going to leave that off. We can go ahead and remove the chocks and the external power, because you got to remove the external power first before you remove the chocks. And let's do a quick checklist, guys, and make sure everything is looking good here. So before start, our cockpit prep is completed. Our signs are on and auto. Our fuel quantity has been checked. We have 20.2 on board. Navigation is checked, set. Landing elevation, that's a good one. We need to set over here. Got to come down. Landing elevation is over here. Phoenix is right on, what, 1200? We'll go ahead and set 1200. Altimeters are set. Brake anti-skid is normal. Windows, doors. How are we looking? We are closed and locked over there. Beacon will come on. Parking brake is on. So I think we are pretty much ready to start this bad boy. Go ahead and lock the cockpit door. Isolation valve. We'll go ahead and turn you on. AP bleed is on. Beacon light is coming on. We're going to crank. Let's see. Today is the 6th. It's an even day, so we'll use alpha. And we are ready to start engine number 1. Crank mode begins. Here we go. Now max motoring on these engines, N2 above 18% minimum. Now I'm not showing you the full-blown cabin yet. The cabin is fully modeled. We'll get to that in a second. But I also have, I know you guys like this view too as well, kind of outside of that window pane. Spooling up. We should probably check our indications there. We're 21% N2. I'm going to zoom way in here so we can monitor the start progress. I have my fuel selector bound. So we're 22.3. We're pretty much close to max motoring. Fuel selector on. Here comes our fuel flow. EGT is on the rise. You can see our engine is... oil PSI is on the rise. That's good. Oil temp is on the rise. We're monitoring, make sure we have a good start here. It looks like there's a little bit of a stutter there in that beeper. N2, 36%. Low oil light is out. We are in the green on engine number 1. I can hear the starter cut off there. Loving those sounds. There we go, power transfer. Look at that, the flicker of the screens. Gotta love that. That is attention to detail at its finest. That looks like a good start on number 1. Let's go ahead and start engine 2. FS Flight Productions, welcome. He says, hi all, if you have any questions about the A300, feel free to ask here. I am from the dev team. Big thanks to v1 for taking the time to show this off. FS Flight, shout out to you in chat, guys. So we do have some devs in the chat. If you have questions, FS Flight Productions, thank you guys for producing such a fantastic airplane. I mean, this is, honestly, it really is what X-Plane needs to be competitive. You know, we've got our narrow body Airbuses, we've got some Boeings, but keeping the high quality add-ons coming to X-Plane 11 is, I think, very necessary for the platform as a whole, and this airplane is hands down one of my favorite. Cabin tour, we'll do a cabin tour. We'll do a cabin tour before we taxi out. How's that? I know you guys want to see. We'll do a brief cabin tour. We'll spend some time in the cabin on our way over to Phoenix as well, but I think we're pretty close to max motoring. 23.7. There comes light off. Again, monitor the start. Low oil. Oil temperature is on the rise. Oil pressure is on the rise there. N1 speed starting to pick up. Looking pretty good. There's our low oil light goes out, coinciding with the oil PSI there on the cam. I mean, look at just the detail and how this is coming up slowly, and gotta love it. There was actually a clipping issue on one of the, I think it was the hydraulic page. They've even fixed that. Fantastic. Another power transfer there. Oil Delta T. That sounds like we got two good starts. All right, we go ahead and turn off the ignition. APU lead can come off. We have a 2-engine taxi, so we no longer need the APU. We'll go ahead and turn the APU master switch off. Also going to verify we are lights out here. Everything is looking good. Let's come up here and check our generator 1. Volts and amps. Gen 2 is looking good. That on the essential bus. All right, up to 350. We're going to do a flaps 15-0 departure as well. We'll get the flaps out here. There goes that flapper on. Big old slats coming down. Gotta love it. FS Flight says it's funny to see the difference between the GE and Pratt & Whitney on the 300. GE uses max of 100 psi, and the Pratt & Whitney is 400 psi. That is a big difference. I mean, 300 psi, that's pretty awesome. Carter says, look out for any toilet flushes. Will it sound worse than the Concorde? We might. I don't know. We'll have to see. But all right, I said we would do a quick cabin tour before we get on here, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll come out. I'll show you guys a quick cabin tour just before we taxi out. Let the engines warm up since it's the first flight of the day. We're taking our charter flight from the Atlantic FBO here. Guys, check out this cabin. This is just a quick breeze through here at a first class. Ooh, another galley here. Looks like we have business class. Sneak through the curtain here. Wow. I mean, they spared no detail. Now look at the seats. 2x4x2. Even got the TV monitors in there. All right, that's your little teaser. Let's go ahead and brakes off. Taxi light is on this side on. And let's go ahead and get out of here. Hello, Gaming Ninja. What's going on, man? It says, how's everyone doing? Wish you a great flight, V1. Thank you, Gaming Ninja. Welcome aboard, my friend. When I'm in the Airbus with the yoke, I use my honeycomb. When I'm in the Airbus with the joystick, I use the honeycomb yoke as my tiller. Now that I have the A300, I'm using my joystick as the tiller axis. Put some light on the cabin. Oh, we're gonna light it up, man. here is outer. We're going to take it all the way down to 2.5. I believe I said left. And then we're going to do some checklists here on the taxi out. Alright, let's do a flight control check. Would help if you're on the flight control page, wouldn't it? There you are. There we go. There's the page you want to see. That looks good. Arm the speed brakes, auto brakes, max. And let's go ahead and look at our checklist here for the taxi out. Well, we should have done the aft start as well. Pitch trim is, it was 1.5 down. There we go, 1.5 down set. Rudder trim 0, spoilers arm, slats flap 15-0 indicating, ECAM status check. Anti-ice is off, hand signal received. Before takeoff, above the line, flight controls are checked, briefing is complete, slats flaps, verify. 15-0, confirm. Performance, set. Takeoff config, we'll check that, and transponder. So, takeoff config push button is down here. Takeoff config normal. TARA. We are pretty much ready to go. A little noisier than the 320neo, definitely, man. Definitely a little bit noisier. I love this cabin, though. I mean, I normally don't like looking through the windows on like on the virtual cabin windows, but these I really do. You can really kind of see the size of the airplane too in these with this virtual cabin. I mean, look at that engine. Awesome stuff. Detached to ground vehicles. Do we have ground vehicles stuck? I think we're good. Let's do a little taxi by here. Fantastic sounds. You guys know sounds are so important to me, and I think they should be important to you in a sim as well, because you lack that seat of your pants feel, right, when you're in the sim because you're at home on your desktop chair. But sounds are something that really can grab your attention and immerse you in the cockpit, and these guys have done a great job with the sounds. Thank you for the subscribe there, Joe. Appreciate it, man. I'm loving this behind. I normally like that forward engine view, but for some reason, these A300 wings, I love sitting on the trailing edge. You got all these flat track fairing covers here, like with all the jack screws. Cover up the jack screw. Actually, jack screw's probably a little bit further in the wing there, but A300 is a very unique looking wing. Big old flapper on right here. Awesome. I'm pumped to get this thing airborne. Oh, helps if you're on the taxiway as well. All right, let's go ahead and make sure we are going to the right runway. I said 25 left, I believe. What did I program this for? 25 left, that is correct. And 25 left. All right, here we go. Foxtrot 25 left. Let's go ahead and light it up. Make our turn on here. Flash says, I wish it's 1080p. I know, brother. I wish it was too. I just don't think the internet can handle it. I had to do an emergency router reset just prior to the stream as well. Keep your window minimized though, or like the YouTube screen, and instead of making it full screen, it doesn't look that terrible. I am still working on that, the internet woes, guys. I will try to get back to that 1080p here. But you don't need 1080p for these engine sounds here, especially as we go full-blown yoga on takeoff here. All right, so we're going to go nav mode. We're going to line her up on 25 left. That's a pretty darn good lineup, if I don't say so myself. There she is, ready to roll. Let's look at our below-the-line items. All right, cabin security, TCAS, TARA, PAX as required, ignition as required, anti-ice as required. Checklist is completed. All right, here we go. We're going to spool them up 50%. Now, the little Toga button is a screw right over here on your FCU, so you're going to press that once you are stable. Here we go. Thrust SRS heading. Here we go, guys. That spool up sound. Alright, I gotta see where we're going here. Off the runway. 80 knots, thrust set. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Hero. Bye-bye. Watch your ears. Love it. We are in nav mode. Acceleration. Profile. We are profile thrust. Profile climb. I'm going to go autopilot 1 because I want to look around this airplane. Look at those. Look at that turn. Flaperon moving. Ailerons moving. Good night. Really feel like you are in a dinosaur in this airplane. They have captured, I has definitely captured the feeling of flying a big old dinosaur Airbus, man. The flight dynamics, the way it feels on rotation, that spool up sound, I believe it was also tweaked in their changelog. I'm going to go ahead and turn it down for you guys. Now, I know it's pretty loud, so we'll go ahead and turn it down, but I just wanted to get that full effect there on that takeoff. So hopefully it's a little less loud for you now. But man, this airplane it's fun to fly. This thing is so fun to fly. I don't know what makes it so fun, but I love being in this airplane. All right, we are still looking good here. Profile thrust, profile climb, nav. Let's do a quick after takeoff. Slats, flaps. Did retract them. Landing gears up, we'll put them in neutral, PAX on, and altimeters. Alright, so neutral there, and PAX are on. We're looking good. Look at this climb rate, guys. We're doing 6,000 feet a minute, 250 knots. Unbelievable. I know we're lightly loaded. This is, look at that altimeter, just ripping. TAT and frequent ice range, we're not going to worry about that, where you don't have any visible moisture. All right, there's 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and get our lights in. Wow. We're at 10,000. We're accelerating to 325 knots. Golly. Imagine if that was the A310 Flash. I hear you, man. Yeah, slam cannon, 6,000 feet per minute, dude. I mean, we only took, what, 20,000 pounds of fuel? This airplane can take a lot more gas than that. But this is a powerful, powerful bird. Flash's I are the best dev in X-Plane. They are definitely at the top of the list, my friend. And the improvements that they make are second to none. Look at those ailerons coming up there as it starts that turn. Wow. Just something about this airplane, I don't know if it's got to be a combination of the flight dynamics and the sounds. It really brings you in. Like, I've flown the 767 with a pretty famous third-party dev, and I don't feel the same as I feel now. Wow, look at our speed is, we're going to go ahead and dial that back in our climb profile here. Let's see if we can, yeah, let's dial that back. We're right on the verge of overspeeding. Dial it back. Dial it back. How about this? Level change it. Okay. There we go. You don't want to be that guy. Trust me. We'll dial it back to 310 here. Got a little spicy there on the climb out. Apologize for that. We'll have to write that up. I'll blame it on the FO. I was too busy looking out the window. Let it get away from me there. But we're back on it. I'll tell you what, I'd feel a heck of a lot more comfortable overspeeding in an A300 than I would in the modern tin can airplanes that we fly around. Set climb. Did I not? Oh, I didn't set climb thrust. That's why. Oh my gosh. Let's cruise. There's climb. Oh boy. Now I go back to profile. Shoo. See? That is why I'm not type rated on the A300. That is why I'm not rated on the A300. Look at, we were supposed to meet dots that are above 15,000. We are well above that. We are... we saved it. We're good. Now it's going to resume its climb speed at 320 knots. That was on me. We did the yoga takeoff all the way up to 20,000 feet. That is not how you want to do that. That's an added step. You've got to set your climb thrust over here. That's probably why it says... I'm actually surprised that's not in the after takeoff checklist. I guess they just anticipate you to know what you're doing. But yeah, you want to make sure you set climb thrust there at acceleration altitude. We were in Toga all the way up. We're definitely going to have to write it up when we get on the ground, guys. Definitely going to have to write this one up. I'm going to change the interior environment. There we go. We'll turn that environment down a little bit as well. Get that noise down a little bit. Oh boy. I should have set thrust climb on auto. Yeah, the Wojtek, you're right, man. I should have set auto down here before we even took off. That's all on me. Not a bug. All on me. Not knowing what I'm doing. But, hey, like I said, this airplane is built to withstand some stuff, I'm sure. I am Dimitri. What's going on, man? He says, hello, Captain. It's been a minute. Swamped with work and family. I am here again, though. I am Dimitri. Welcome back to the stream, dude. It's been a while. I was actually just thinking about you the other day. It's like, where has Dimitri been? Glad to have you on board, man. We are overspeeding the A300 up to 26,000 feet, but anyway, we're back on track now. Flying guitar Sam says you put it in auto, it'll set climb thrust at reduction altitude. Yep. Yeah, that's... See? Airbus got smart. They realized that pilots would forget to do that. So that now it just automatically does it in the Airbus, but man, in the narrow body anyway. That's on me. Carl says, custom weather radar on active sky integration. This can be very interesting. Have been waiting for this to come to explain forever. Exactly. And you can pull up your ATIS and all that stuff with active sky now too. It's great. That does explain the 6,000 feet per minute climb rate. I should have noticed something was off there. The first plane you flew in was an A300? Awesome. Flex takeoff switches to auto at thrust reduction altitude. Brian, yeah, it should have. I don't know if I was in auto or not. I'd have to watch the stream back again. I don't think I was. I think I had my thrust set incorrectly on the, the TRP, I believe that's the acronym. But here we go. We're 31.2, climbing to 350. Wild intersection. Seems to be a pretty smooth ride here. Let's go ahead and turn that seatbelt sign off. And once we reach cruise altitude, we will do a cabin tour. Setting flex takeoff switches to use auto at thrust reduction altitude. Yep. Is it normal that the electrical trim switch is very sensible, hard to get correctly trimmed? CM, I don't. So here's what I know about the A300 trim. I believe the trim speed varies on the configuration of the aircraft. So the trim will actually move at a different rate depending on how the aircraft is configured. Now, like I said, I'm not typed on the A300. I think it's a wonderful airplane. It's near and dear to my heart for sure. But that would be a question for someone who is typed on it, or maybe a dev even. What are the configurations? I'm pretty sure it has to do with these flap-slat configuration or on-ground. I know on-ground clean, it moves the fastest, but I don't seem to have an issue setting the trim. But like I said, it might be that what configuration you're in that's causing the trim to set at a faster speed. Benny, welcome to Private Pilot, man. Positive rates in chat. Thank you, Benny, for joining the channel. Welcome on board, man. You can sync your YouTube to the Discord to get access to the V1 After Dark channel in the Discord. You also can access the podcast, which I do every month or every 2 months, which I'm combining November and December for a couple of reasons. But if you just search the V1 After Dark playlist on my channel, you now have access to all those podcasts as a member. So welcome aboard, Benny. I am Dimitri says, iniBuilds upcoming update sure shows how it is supposed to be done. I hope Flight Factor and the rest are taking notes. Dimitri, I couldn't agree more, man. And again, if you guys are just tuning in to the stream, !changelog for the full list of changes, or you can just click the link in the description below. But I will be the first to tell you that this is more than just an update to our A300 freighter. Sounds like thrust is coming back there. We are in climb thrust, level 350. I think it's time we do a little cabin tour. What do you say, guys? All right, let's go ahead and hop out of our seats here. We're really gonna look at this cabin now. I know you guys have been waiting for this, so back into our lavatory area, first galley. We got a jump seat over here. I mean, look at the size of this galley. Goodness. Couple of jump seats here. Awesome stuff. Sneak into first class. Got the Airbus logo up there. This is where all the mods and sponsors are. So Benny, since you're the newest member, you're also sitting up here in first class, my friend. Welcome aboard. Nicely done. And my frames are pretty sweet. I mean, look at, I'm getting 40 FPS in the cabin here while streaming. So if you're not streaming, you'll probably get 15 to 20 FPS more. But really no performance issues on this airplane. The cabin is what I would say is a perfect blend of fine detail and performance, because if you get a super detailed cabin, it's really going to hinder your system. All right, let's go ahead and let's get to the second row here. What do we got back here? Another galley here. Very nice, very nice. Do we have any lavatories in this galley? Oh, here's a lavatory. Oh, lavatory door actually works. Closed myself. We actually have a toilet. Uh-oh. Should we try to find a flusher? I don't know if it flushes. We actually have a toilet model. That's awesome. I think this is the second airplane that we've flown that has a toilet model. I check them all for toilets. Well, awesome stuff. We'll go ahead and close that door there. Let's go back here. Let's take a look outside and see what's going on. Wow. Look at that shot. I'm going to let it stabilize so it gets a little bit more HD so you can see what I'm looking at here. Flight Production says, check some A300, A310 cockpit videos and you can really see they only blip the trim a tiny bit. So you're talking about that, oh, he answered the question, so here we go. This is the trim question from FS Flight. Thank you, man. He says, as at the approach speed, the trim is 0.9 degrees per second, which is massive, but the trim scales with the speed from 240 knots down to approach speed up to the max of 0.9 seconds. Wow. So it's much more complex than I was even thinking. FS Flight says, check some A300, A310 cockpit videos, and you can really see they only blip the trim on a tiny bit. So just a quick boop of the switch, and it sets it where it needs to be. Awesome. Awesome, FS Flight. Thank you for the answer. He says, at the back of the aircraft, you have the strangest toilet config you'll ever see. All right, we're gonna continue our cabin tour here. Back. I mean, I love this cabin, man. I'm trying to remember. I think I was on an A310, which was actually a little shorter than the 300. And I want to say we went to Hawaii on it. And I'm going to try to go find my seat and see if the view brings me back here. All right, and we'll skip through this curtain here. So back to, man, I don't even know what cabin class this would be. Because economy, or economy plus, perhaps? Wow. That's a lot of people. I feel like this is a type of airplane that all those hijack movies, they try to replicate. Very large interior cabins. Oh, there we go. Look at that wing view, man. Look at the fat wing. Okay, yeah, that brings back memories. So I remember as a kid getting on an I don't know if it's a 300 or a 310. Might have been a 300. That must have been a 310. But either way, I remember I was used to flying small airplanes like 7.3s and going back and forth to see my grandparents. And I remember when we got on an A300, we were going to Hawaii, and I remember sitting at the window. I think this is probably this is where I sat. So I picked my seat out, right, because I always wanted to sit on the trailing edge of the flaps, but I didn't realize how big the wing was. And you couldn't even see down because the wing is so fat. It goes a lot further back than I had thought. Now, this was before you had, all these great videos on the best seat to sit, and the internet wasn't nearly as accessible as it is now to find the best window seat on an A300. So I just kind of had to guess, and I guessed right about here. And I sat down and looked out my window, and the first thing I thought was, wow, that is a big wing. And then I thought, man, I screwed up. I can't see down. So that is awesome to see that. That really brings back memories. That's really cool. What we got here? We got a couple TV monitors. Man, probably half you guys in chat don't even know what a monitor looks like this. You're like, what is that big box hanging from the ceiling? Well, before flat screens, man. That's what we had. All right, we'll continue all the way down here into last class, as it's commonly referred to. But check this thing out, man. There is a lot of seats on this bad boy. Big overhead bins. All right, into the aft galley. Let's find this toilet configuration here. Check this out. Wow. Right next to each other. Sliding door in. Is this one open? Look at that. Look at this toilet configuration. You can literally go to the bathroom with your friend and just hang out back here. Like, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but man. They got the sink there. These are the, hey, let me wash my hands, make it the hardest thing possible for you, because you have to press and hold the knob down for the water to come out. It doesn't just come out after you press it down. You have to press and hold it. Yeah. Uh-oh. What do I do? I just clicked something. Oh. That's not good. That's not good. Let's just depressurize the airplane. That wouldn't happen in real life. I clicked through and opened the door. Let's just make sure everything is kosher up here. Everything seems to be all right. How's our pressurization doing? Oh man, we're good. Okay. Just be careful that you don't open the actual aft cabin door there, guys, when you are doing your own cabin tour. But, man, oh man. Awesome stuff. And this is just an update, guys. So this is It's pretty incredible. I really mean it when I say this is more than just a small update to version 1.10. When will it be released? I'm not authorized to discuss the release, but I can tell you that it will be very soon. CRT TVs, T-Vodka, you got it, man. CM says the A300 hijacked by terrorists in 1994, Air France 8969. Yes, sir. Was that the A300 that, I believe that was the hijacking that we study for cockpit security? In our current day, if I'm not, that's one where they had the equivalent of SWAT for France under the airplane when it was on the tarmac. Is that the one? I believe that's the one. But we study that incident in current day, if it is the one. Symbolize that I should have imploded. Yeah. So the pressure on the doors, you can't actually open a cabin door like that when it's pressurized. The amount of force that's on that door is insane, so you wouldn't be able to open it. Now, had it blown out or for some reason it did open, then you would have a problem. Definitely have a rapid decompression. Now, about the doors, you saw how that one opened, it kind of slid out. These doors are actually plug style. Now, I'm not 100% sure about the cargo door, because I know there were issues with cargo doors. But the plug style doors are basically, even if you were to leave it unlocked, the door is bigger than the hole that's cut out for the door frame. So, seat back pocket coming in with a $5 donation. Captain, I need help with my mask in the back. Thank you so much, man, for that donation. I appreciate it. I have to assist myself first before women and children, so apologize, man. I got to get my mask on first before I can help you out. But that's awesome. Yeah, so that door should actually be a plug style. Oh, we're doing a little rapid turn there. What's going on there? Okay, there we go. Just going over C-stay. Awesome. 350. We're holding out too. Look at that. Here we come. All the people in the toilet are scared. I'd like to be in the toilet. Wow, that was a cool shot there. Wing up. Look at this. That is cool. Wing up. I love it, man. Awesome. Marcus said last time iniBuilds said very soon. It was the day after, so I don't think we have to wait too long. Hi, man. Like I said, I'm not authorized to discuss the release. Motive Z, what's up, says, is the A300 currently used in real-world flights? You know, I think in the States there's a couple cargo operators. I know UPS had them for a long time, and FedEx. I don't know if they're all retired. I've kind of stopped keeping track. I have seen one of my last flights before I took leave, there was an A300 charter, I believe it was an A310, close enough, that was in Cleveland, Ohio, and it came from somewhere in the Middle East all the way to Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know if it did in one stop or not, but it parked right next to us, and I tried to look up all the tracking information, and it was all generic, you know. It wouldn't. So I don't know who was on it or what, but it was a privately owned A300. Looked very, very nice. They actually parked perpendicular to our airplane. I was in a 320, and we were at the gate. It's interesting how they parked. I was kind of surprised that they parked them perpendicular. So when they actually started up and taxied off, the entire airframe in our airplane was shaking. When I was kind of like, why, you know, it was kind of weird that the ground crew would park them that way, but I don't know, maybe they couldn't fit any other direction. But we definitely got a nice jet blast from that A300 when it taxied off. Gavin Cornell says, came a little late, did I miss anything crazy? Well, I opened the cabin door while I had friends in the lavatory, so other than that, we're pretty good, man. We did a little cabin tour. Mahu Gaming says DHL still has an A300. Well, there you go. Blue Max says UPS retrofitted their 300 cockpits. Yes, I believe that is true. I've sat in a UPS 300 a long time ago, and there was more glass than there is in this one, but that's probably a retrofitting. But it was a cargo variant as well. So, all right, we're approaching Blythe. Let's go ahead and let's do some little preparations here for Phoenix, Arizona. UPS is taking a whole new avionics setup in the 300 right now. I'd imagine they're keeping them for a while. Well, there you go. If they're going to retrofit all of them, then they're probably going to stick around for a while. They're still operated by FedEx, UPS, DHL, and will be for a long time. There you go. Jungly Sim, thanks for the answer, man. All right, here we go. We're going to Phoenix arrival, and we are on the Hydra 1 RNAV. Now, here's the thing. I forget even how to do a VNAV descents in this thing. It's been a while. Hopefully we'll do it right here. We're going to plan to land 8, so we're going to do the I believe it's a KGOR transition. So let's go ahead and let's just make sure everything's in there. Yep, there it is, the KGOR, out to KGOR. Bottom's at 5,000 feet. Awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to set 5,000 in the altitude window. 5,000 feet. I will turn on my LS push buttons. What else we got here? Browse ad, init, don't need that. Takeoff approach. Alright, we're going to be doing a 30... Should we do 30-40? Yeah, we're doing 30-40. Oh, yeah, you can do 15-20. I want to do 30-40 for cinematic purposes. I love seeing those flaps coming down. VAP is 143, no wind correction. MDA for the approach. Let's go ahead and pull that up. Approach ILS to runway 8 in Phoenix Sky Harbor is, straight in, is 1368. 1368 for the MDA. We're not going to activate final approach mode there. 215, 203, 170. That looks good. Thank you for the subscription, Reinhardt Masson. Appreciate it, man. All right, so that is set. Our LS push buttons are on. I'm going to leave the MDA. So this would be a good question. I wonder if you have to set the FS flight. So more of a procedural question. So I know for the narrow body, and depending on what type of approach you're doing, but generally speaking, unless we're doing a Cat 2 or Cat 3 where it requires a decision height to be set, we only set the MDA in the MCDU. For the A300, like I said, it may be procedural. Is it common to always set the DH even if you place the MDA in the approach box there? So let me know if I should also set the DH of 250 in the DH window. I don't know if that had changed over the years, or if it might be a procedural thing. That's something I'd like to know about that DH box there. Chris says, do you stay in the same aircraft all day, or do you switch sometimes? You switch sometimes. Ideally, you stay in the same aircraft, but it doesn't happen. We call that a plane swap. Nobody likes a plane swap because then you got to move all your stuff. What we call it when you first get to the airplane is you build your nest, right? So you bring out, and this was more so when we had paper charts, but you'd have to bring out all your charts. You'd get the charts for the flight out. You get your little charging station set up for your iPad now, your EFB. You get everything out where you want it, right? And then you do a flight, and if you have to change it, now you may only have 45 minutes to do a plane swap, so you have to get all your stuff. That takes time, pack it all up. Go find the other airplane. Hopefully it's there. If it's not, maybe it's just coming in right on time. And if it's a tail-to-tail schedule like that, then you have to wait for that crew to get all their stuff. And then you go down, probably when they're still deplaning. Then you got to rebuild your nest again. And it seems like a small thing, but for any real-world guys out there, I think we can all agree that no one really enjoys plane swaps unless, of course, you're swapping out of an airplane with an in-op APU or something. So FS flight, he says, it's actually older school than that. DH is, like you said, only for Cat 2 and Cat 3. If you want to set the DH, you set the buff on the altimeter. Aha, that's right. So this sucker, right? 1368 with 250. So I would set 250 here on this sucker. So this would only be used for Cat 2, Cat 3. Interesting. V1, can this plane do LPV approaches? I don't know. FS flight, could it do an LPV? I can't imagine. My first answer would be no. I mean, I don't know what the RNAV capability is of the A300 or what is modeled. I'm sure maybe like a DHL or a modern that's been updated, like they were talking about for UPS updating all the into the avionics, Dimitri, that it could probably do an LPV, but not sure. Oh, the bug. Okay, I thought it was just a fancy word for the bug, and I was like, I'll rock with it. I think I'm gonna call it bug from now on. I think we just renamed the A300 bug to the buff. All right, we're approaching top of descent. We are still profile nav, so in theory, we should. Here we go. Here comes profile descent in blue. It is armed. And let's go ahead and monitor the aircraft here as we fly over our descent point. Jack Witherford says plane swaps only happen on the quick turns. There you go, man. That's exactly what happens. That's for your wins. Like I said, if you're running active sky, it is compatible now. All right, I know I'm forgetting something. We are now high. Oh. Push. There we go. 5,000. Now I'm behind the 8-ball. There we go. Profile descent. Thrust is coming back. I'm going to pop the speed brakes out a little bit, see if we can catch up to it. I'm sitting there watching it fly past the decel point. Yeah, we're on it now. It's going to try to catch it. This ought to be interesting. Here we go. Down we go. Can do RNAV only, but no LPV. There you go, Dimitri. We need a buff emoji. I think we're gonna have to use a buff. We'll get a buff emoji too, Vodka. What are the reasons for a plane swap? Most likely a maintenance schedule. So if you're in one airframe that is due for maybe a weekly check, or maybe it has an MEL item, like something's inoperative on the aircraft that needs to be taken care of, and that airplane eventually at night is scheduled to overnight at a maintenance facility that already has that on their schedule. So if you flew, let's say you're doing 3 legs, and you flew 2 legs in the same airplane, but the airplane that you're currently flying is the one that has to go to a maintenance base, and your next leg isn't to a maintenance base, that's probably where you're going to get a plane swap, or somewhere down the line. It's a long chain of events, right? So that airplane has to end up at a certain spot to get worked on. It's going to get there regardless of the crew. So I think they try to minimize that, but sometimes it happens. I mean, and typically if you're doing a 4-day trip or something, that last day, if you have 4 legs, you're going to be in 4 different airplanes. That's just how it works out. But there are other reasons too, I'm sure, where planes, but I would guess that a lot of it is maintenance related. Milltown24 says Saturday stream. It's Sunday, man. Fantastic stuff. Watched XP side of the FNO this morning. Fun times. Milltown, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you joining the channel. Or joining the stream, I should say. It was a lot of fun Friday night. I had a lot of fun with XP on that FNO. I watched his stream back, and the part where I was overtaking him, and then I got turned away, I watched that from his perspective, and the excitement in his voice when he saw me getting vectored away was pretty hilarious. And he made a good little announcement on it too, so that was a good stream to rewatch. I had a lot of fun doing that dual stream where we could kind of see each other's perspective. Ryan, no, this is X-Plane 11. X-Plane 11. Imagine if I named it a beluga. Hey man, you know it'd be a pretty good one, that's for sure. Alright, we're back on our profile descent there. We caught it back. I can disarm the spoilers there. I don't need those anymore. So we're back to it, down to 5,000. All our constraints. I'm curious to see how it handles these constraints. Now, from what I've seen and what I've heard other A300 pilots talk about is that when they tried to make it fly like a modern Airbus, it would sometimes struggle with its vertical planning. So that's kind of what I've gathered. I've never flown the A300, but I think it was the INI interview or on the line interview with an A300 pilot, and he talked about how, you know, it sometimes it didn't do what it was supposed to do. That was just kind of a normal thing. But right now we're looking good here. We got a speed restriction 280 knots. We're coming back to 280. We're at a 250. I never did set standard on the altimeters. I'm sure that's going to mess up our descent a little bit. Let's go ahead and check the weather here. So let's go back. ATIS, we'll update Phoenix METAR. We're looking good. 100 at 7 is the wind. Few and temperature 9, -7, 3025. So very similar altimeter to LA. Nice high pressure day here. No clouds at or above 24. So because I reset that altimeter, we're now below our descent path. But the airplane is responding. It's shallowed its descent to 1,000 feet per minute. Brought the thrust back in there to maintain 280 knots. So shout out to INI. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Fupar says, yeah, it was a fun night, man. Robert S says, best sim ever. It's pretty good, man. You get airplanes like this, it really makes a difference. I mean, you guys that have been around the channel know that I've been kind of saying, man, X-Plane is there, right? You got the new FS 2020 on the horizon. You've got really complex add-ons on the P3D sim. And not that we don't have complex add-ons on X-Plane 11, but it seemed like it was due for a major add-on, and this is that major add-on, I think. And like I said, guys, when you get in this airplane and fly it in the simulator, it's such a different level of satisfaction. I don't know if it's the combination of glass and round gauges in the cockpit or the level of workload. I personally think it's the workload management. It's just the right amount of workload. Like the FlyJ Sim stuff, the 727 in particular, hands down love that airplane. That's probably my favorite real airframe, right, the 727. So naturally, I love flying it. But it is such a high workload airplane, you almost don't have time to enjoy it, especially if you want to stream with it. Not to say that's not fun, it's just you get a different level of satisfaction with that type of workload. Then you get in the Airbus A320, A319, 21, very reduced workload, right, because it's much more modern, you've got a lot of automation going on, so again, a different level of satisfaction. You hop in this bad boy, and it is right in the middle, I think. You know, it's not a ton of work, but it is a lot more work than just a modern-day airliner. And the satisfaction that you get from flying this airplane is specific to this airplane, and I love it. I totally love it. So if you haven't flown the freighter variant around and you're still on the fence and you're like, man, I think I'm going to get it now that they got a passenger variant, you are in for a treat. 242 watching, only 142 likes. Oh man, go ahead and hit that like button for me, guys. Hit the like button for INI A300 passenger variant for sure. Hit that like button for the INI sim. This video will helps them get their product out there. So hit that like button, helps the YouTube algorithm. And look at that. I mean, and if you don't want to hit the like button for that, hit the like button for the A300 wing textures, because these are some of the best wing textures out of the gate that I've seen as well. Those wing textures are awesome. Waiting for the MD-11 too, Chris Bone. I've been waiting for the MD-11 too, man. It's kind of like taxiing behind American Airlines. You get behind a older guy in a 737 that's come down from the 777, and now he's sitting left seat in the narrow body, and you taxi behind him. That's kind of what it's like waiting for the MD-11 to be released. Nate says, I'm so excited for the FlyJ Sim Q400 coming next year. Nate, I as well, man. I love turboprops. You guys know I love turboprops. I am also highly anticipating that airplane as well. Avgas Kool-Aid. Nice name, dude. He says, one of the most underrated planes for X-Plane, in my opinion, is the Payware Fearless 2U-154. Still haven't flown it, man, unfortunately. That thing is definition of study level. Thank God it has English labels.
Donation.
I still want to check that one out, man. I still want to check out TU-154. Robert S. Thank you, man, for the $2 donation. He says, a cup of coffee. Definitely going to need one of those. Or bourbon. Coupon to you, mate. Started flying with the PA-31. Great plane. Tried to feel you back in the days, brother. Hey, man. Thank you so much, Robert, for the donation. I appreciate it. PA-31. Great airplane to fly. Glad you're enjoying it. Thanks again for your donation. I'm going to need to make another cup of coffee. My day started pretty rough. It was pretty rough to get this stream to happen on time. I'll just tell you how it started. I had the coffee set to brew a full pot last night, and then I wake up this morning hearing what sounded like water leaking. And my genius self didn't put the coffee pot under the little spew thing, so I brewed an entire pot of coffee onto the kitchen floor and all over the counters. And that's just how the day started, man, and it went on, and then I had issues with my internet, then I had a slight pushback issue. But we're here. Internet's holding out. Everyone's in chat, so appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this Sunday afternoon. I know I don't typically stream on Sundays, but I felt this was important. We're at 20,000 feet. Everything's still looking good. Pretty easy to manage this one on this descent. She's doing her job. Let's find a nice shot here. Gosh, I love that Airbus. I think Airbus kind of went backwards in their fuselage aesthetics. I think the A300 looks better. The fuselage looks better than a narrow body 320, 321. That nose design on the A300 is much more aesthetically pleasing, in my opinion. Patches, you sound like an airline pilot? You betcha, man. Been an airline pilot for a while now. Fork Boy or V-States, but V-States is getting pulled soon. Team Vodka, this is Fork Boy, Ortho. So we were in Orbix HD until we crossed the border, and now we're in that Fork Boy. Dimitri says, I haven't flown any other airline on X-Plane 11 since August when it came out. Well, there you go. There you go, man. This airplane, when it came out, I binged it hard, man. I was flying it around in that air hauler, which unfortunately I think has kind of become a bust for me. I don't really have the time to run air hauler as much as I want to, but I flew this airplane all around, the freighter variant. Mahu Gaming, you get the 4 terabyte SSD. That's what you need, man. I am packed on space right now. I need more. Definitely need to get a 4 terabyte or something. They took down the V-States, Ortho. That's unfortunate, man. All right, let's go ahead and keep an eye on this descent here. We're at a 17.5. Let's set our altimeters now to 302. Only don't have to do that. What is it? 3025. Chris Burton coming in with a $20 donation. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for your donation on the channel. He says, appreciate your great content, V1. Thanks for dropping all the knowledge bombs on us. This is Arclight from the Discord. Chris, thank you, man. Arclight, appreciate you, man. Again, really appreciate that donation. I'm glad you're still learning information here. I try to keep this a learning channel, even on airplanes that I really don't know what I'm doing, like running Toga all the way up to 26,000 feet, but I still try to drop some knowledge out there for you guys. I enjoy teaching, and your receptiveness to this channel is what keeps me going. So, again, appreciate it, Chris. All right, so we have a at or below, at or above, 15 and 19 at 265 knots. There's that drop down. Let's go ahead and help it out with a little speed brake. Of course, speed brake view, you gotta be in the window view for speed brakes. I love the speed brakes on the A300. Big old pieces of metal that come up. Can twin engine pilot fly quad engine with similar cockpit like A320 and A340? It would just be a different type rating. So you have to be type rated on either of the airplanes. So even if you're type rated on the A340, you can't fly the A320 unless you receive a type rating. All right, she slowed down nicely there. We'll stow the speed brakes. We're at a 15,000. We'll go ahead and turn that seatbelt sign on, run a checklist here. Make sure everything is good to go. All right, approach checklist. Signs are set. Briefing's complete. ECAM status checked. Altimeters 3025. We set those minimums. We set the buff. We'll call it the buff now. 250 DH, which is actually about 13 something DA. We already looked at that. Which would 1368 there, but visual day shouldn't be a problem. We got that set. Ignition as required. We'll leave it off. Landing elevation is set. Our approach checklist is complete. I just want to verify my landing elevation. I said 1200. What is the actual field elevation? It's 1135. So yeah, we're looking good. We're at a 14.1 now on the descent. I love the reverse thrust on the 73200. Me too, man. Those clamshell that just pop open. Boom. I love it. I had those, are similar on the Citation. We had those we call them clamshell reversers or buckets. Although I don't remember exactly. Oh, here's another. FS Flight says a random A300 fact. It can do something I've always wanted to add to the 320. If you start an early descent in VNAV, you can actually tell the airflight vertical speed you want it to fly rather than the... Oh, okay, so you can... Alright, so in the A320, if you start down on a vertical nav descent early, the airplane will maintain a 1,000 feet per minute descent rate. And that's pretty much all it's going to do. Unless you take it out of VNAV and manually adjust it, you can't change that default 1,000 feet per minute. In the A300, you can start a descent early in VNAV and tell the airplane which vertical speed to fly rather than 1,000 feet per minute. That is pretty cool. That is really cool. I did not know that. There's a knowledge bomb from FS Flight. Good stuff, man. Appreciate it. That is, I wonder why you can't change it in the A320. I mean, you'd think it'd be somewhere around their what's it called? Like the pressurization, how you can change the pressurization schedule coming down. You should be able to change the descent early. I think that would be cool. Alright, here we go. Here's punt. Once we get down low, I think we're going to just hand fly her in for the visual because this airplane hand flies like a dream. We're getting ready to go through 10,000 feet. 11.6, that's close enough. Let's go ahead and light up the bird here. We got no ATC, so this is what's going to screw me up when I go back to work, is this taxi light is, to me, on the wrong side. In the narrow body, this taxi light should be over here, but this is how it is on the A300. That's interesting. Everything else is looking good. Pressurization is coming down. And we'll ding the flight attendants one more time as we go through 10,000. Right out of 11.1. 5 is set. TAT and frequent icing range, we don't have to worry about that because we are not in visible moisture. Shouldn't the buff be set to 1368.2? Your altimeter is QNH, so you use the DA. You're right. I gotta set the buff. Remind me, Jackson Banks. I gotta set the buff. I'll set the buff when we go back inside it. Good Red Fumas is giving the bird. Oh yeah, we'll have to give myself the bird here when we come in and turn all the automation off. I forgot to say smash the sub button. Yeah, if you haven't already, man, if you haven't already, if you like this content, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Hitting the like button helps me out too. But we'll get that bird out. We'll see how the bird is on the A300. Fork boy with her is pretty good, man. Looking at Fork boy. FS Flight on Q says that sim looking great, by the way. Appreciate it, man. I haven't done a flight over here in this Fork boy ortho in quite a while. It does look pretty nice. All right, we're at a 10,009.8 on the descent. Between 9 and 8 at 210 knots at Teak. A little bit fast there from our target. I'm going to go ahead and get that speed brake out just a tad. We'll do auto brakes low for the landing as well. Get that speed, come right back down. Alright, I'm going to set these as a little bit smaller. Is there a way... That's one thing I didn't check. Is there a way to change... Oops. The pop-outs to not be a window? I don't see it there. That sounds better. Option save. There we go. Back to our checklist. We'll set our buff. Well, so I don't think so, right? Because 1,000 feet, unless you spin it all the way around. See, I don't even know. I haven't really dealt with a altimeter buff before. I'm pretty sure you would set it here, or you could set it here and still be at 1,000 feet, just depending on how you're out. But that's a good question that I don't have an answer for. I would imagine if you set the bug to, because if you set it at 1368, how would you know? Yeah, I guess you'd see 1,000 and the when you're looking for bug or buff. Robert says, you need SkyMax Pro now, more cloud layers and good performance. I will check it out, man. I know there's a couple. I've really been eyeing the, what was it, X-Enviro, now that it's been updated. We'll see, though. Dimitri says, do you, yeah, you can't, so FS Flight says you can't do that. So, yeah, so you wouldn't be able to set it to 13. It's only radar. Or not radar, but height above ground. Do you get flack from your co-pilots when you use the boards on descents? Sometimes. I give out more flack than I do receive flack, but I think that just comes with the seat. But I really, sometimes you can't avoid it, man. Sometimes the airplane is just fast and you got to slow it down. And the boards are a tool, but yeah, I bust chops every now and then. Especially if it's one that could have been avoided, like maybe they didn't fully understand geometric path versus, like your idle path, all different Airbus things. And then some people use the speed brake when you really don't need to. They just think they need to. Let's go ahead and extend the flaps 1. Then I'll definitely do it. Okay, we definitely flew into a haze layer down here, unfortunately. Just ignore the thousands, set hundreds of value for the buff. There you go, 250. Jeremy says it's an actual X-plane option. All right. I'll have to look at my X-plane default options. 250 feet above threshold. So, let's look at our approach again. I mean, since it is visual, it's not too big of a deal. Yeah, but 250, that's why I got it set at. I got the buff set at 250. Hoping I'll see the runway here pretty soon. I guess we're going to fly right into... We're going to fly right into the loc. So I'm going to arm glide slope localizer, because our arrival takes us right into the loc. So we'll set that. I'm also going to... I'm going to do manual speed here. We're going to dial it back to 180. We're going to come off profile now. That's all right. We're going to do 180. And we're also going to set 3,000 level change. And here we come. So we got out blue, loc blue. Final approach mode. Activate approach, essentially. We're at a 5,000. So we're having a hard time slowing the 180 now. Let's get that speed brake out. And VFN X minus 7 flaps 2. Or I guess, I don't know what the call outs are. 15, 15? Look at that though. Much more going on here on the A300 than you have on the narrow body in terms of flight control surfaces, that's for sure. Wojtek, CYVR, thank you so much for the $10 donation, man. Appreciate it. He says, love your streams. Thank you. Thank you, Wojtek. I appreciate your support on the channel, my friend. Thank you for that $10 donation. DJ Thomas also coming in with a $5 donation. Says, howdy from California V1. I enjoy being with you on these streams. Oh boy, here we go. With you's in chat. With you. Hey, we're not on VATSIM today, but I'm definitely with you, man. Thank you for that donation. I appreciate it. Glad to have you on board, my friend. All right, I'm going to extend the gear early because I want to see. I love this animation. Check out this gear animation. It's just so majestic looking. So slow and majestic looking. I'm extending them early, I know that, but I can hear the thrust picking up too. Oh boy, what did we do? That's right, we're going to go ahead and turn everything off. Autopilot's off. Auto thrust is off. Flaps 3. Oop, what did we trip there? Oh, that was just the auto thrust. Alright, here we go. Let's get her configured. Gear is down, speed brakes armed. Oh boy, get the power in. Get the power in, get the power in there, Captain. And we're gonna go give myself the bird here. Give the FO the bird as well. Oh, I guess I already had it on. We got birds all around. We are in man thrust. Roger that. Let's level it off here so we don't fly into the downtown. Now why? There we go. Yep, man thrust. That looks good. I forget what my approach speed was. 142. We're looking good. Definitely got a little bit low there. Definitely below the low. We'll just level it off here at about 2600. Wish I could pop out that screen for y'all. Zoom it in a little bit. Love those engine sounds. Oh, you know what? It's so old school. I never set the lope frequency. We're doing this old school. We got no glide slope, no localizer. We're purely visual because yours truly relies on automation. I've totally forgot to set the lope frequency. You have to manually set that. But we got the airport in sight. Hopefully X-plane doesn't reload the weather and give me a 200-foot overcast. And yeah, I just saw your message now, FS Flight. I do not have the ILS frequency or the course set, so we're old school here, trying to find that sweet spot with the trim. We're flaps 30-40, gear is down, spoilers armed, auto brakes low, 2 whites, 2 reds. That is why our glide slope is blue and loc is blue, because we never actually tuned it in. Or we never actually set 142 in the FCU. This is why I needed a first officer. I was too busy enjoying the gear automation. But hey, this is the nice thing about an A300 is you can just turn it off and fly it. It's not going to be yelling at you. Love that call out. We're sitting pretty with 2 whites, 2 reds.
300.
A little bit low, a little bit more power. There we go, right back on it. This is actually good practice for me. Just going full-blown manual here.
100.
Just want to kind of hold that pitch attitude.
40. 20. 10. 5.
Where are you at, runway? There we go. Spoilers. Reverse. See my numbers. I forgot to just stop that one. 128 on the landing. I'll take it. A little bit low over the threshold. 39 feet, 6 from center line. 70 knots. Yeah, that was all on me, guys. Definitely bad setup there, but hey, crisis averted. I will take that touchdown. And we'll vacate runway 8 here. Take it to the gate. Awesome. Go around if not butter. I'm pretty sure 128, that's got to be a butter, man. All right, let's reconfigure. I want to listen to these flaps. Oh, yeah. And I'm taxiing over the non-weight bearing area. But we got to do things here for cinematic purposes. I love those flap track bearings, how they all move. All right. APU will prime you up. Let's kill the lights. We're going to take it straight over to the ramp here. Taxi off. Turn off lights and come off. Back and come off. And APU is on the acceleration. We're going to take it right over here. Let's see, I forget what terminal this is actually, but I see gate straight ahead with the marshaller. That way we can get right to our replay. Alright, taxi light off, APU is a veil. see how this parking job does here. Get those trucks centered. Raise my seat a little bit. Come on. A little bit of thrust. Southwest would not like this parking job. Gavin, thank you so much for the $10 donation. He says, nice landing, V1. Bourbon's on me. Cheers, Gavin. Appreciate that donation, man. Thank you so much. Definitely going to be going to the bourbon store here. Wow, I really milked this parking job. Brakes are probably hot. There we go. Set. Brakes set. Brakes are hot. Yes, sir. Welcome to Phoenix. We have power confirmed. All right. Engine 2. Engine 1. Seatbelt sign. Spooling them down. Listen to that rumble. Awesome. Can't wait to see this replay. One thing I love about X-Plane is replay. Brakes are a little bit toasty. Brakes fan can come on. We are spooling down up over here. We can go ahead and kill our fuel pumps. We'll leave that one on. Those can come off. AP bleed on for Phoenix. We'll kill all that. Beacon light off. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. Miss Jungle says you should check out the Jungly Sim Bourbon store. Oh boy, we'll have to check that out. Let's go ahead and take a replay though. I'm going to throw you guys into replay mode. I want to see this beauty. The first A300 passenger landing in Phoenix. We got to check this out together. Back it up a little bit more. That might be a little bit too far, but we'll play it from here. And we have sounds in replay? It kind of sounds like we have sounds in replay. Hand flowing in there. What is the cooldown period for these engines before shutdown? Ooh, I don't know. FS Flight, if you're still here, wonder what the cooldown period is. I know in the Airbus it's 3 minutes, or if you're in a Neo, could be more, depending on which engine you got on there. And I would like to hear, and you can try it out in your sim too. Tango, hey, I will say you can try this out in your sim soon. Clear Direct Foodbar says, thanks for the great stream, V1. I appreciate it, man. Coming in over Phoenix here. Formerly Bank One Ballpark. I don't even know what it is now. It's changed a dozen times. Miss Jungles, if Mr. Jungles is watching, I'm sure he's excited. Let's see a tower view. Tower view of an A300 coming in. Oh, yeah. That is nice. Runway shot. Look at the smoke behind those engines. Oh, what a beautiful sight to have an X-plane. Look at those flaps hanging. Look at the slot in those flaps. That is why you always want to do 30-40 for cinematic purposes. Look at that drag. And the grease under the pack outlets under there. Look at that. I'm telling you guys, attention to detail is Ionized motto for sure. A little bit of a balloon there. We set her down nicely. 129. This one said 108. But I'll take, I guess 129 is fair, right? Let's see that touchdown reversing animation right here. Can we get to see ya? Oh yeah, you'll get one, Gavin. Every time on the sign off, my friend. Alan Bush is thinking about the A300 for myself for Christmas. Looks like it's worth it. Alan, your assumption is correct. Probably hands down one of the best, if not the best, third-party aircraft in X-Plane 11. You will not be disappointed. That I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you that, my friend. Look at those spoilers coming. Look at the size of those control surfaces. 10 for 10 on the center line, man. Oh, we're talking about 6 feet off. Man. All right, guys. Well, huge shout out to I Simulations, letting me take a look at their A300 passenger variant. Will be coming to a sim near you very, very soon. Glad to be, showcasing a little bit of other products for them. Awesome stuff. Hit the like button for I Simulations. Mod sponsors, donor, thank you for hanging out with me on this Sunday afternoon. That doesn't get old, just seeing that plane come over the top. Everyone else hanging out in chat, love you guys just as much. Hit the like button for me on the way out. One more shout out, I Sim. Until next time, guys, we're going to be in this passenger variant for a little bit till next plane. I'm V1. Have a great rest of your weekend. See ya!